Gentlemen, I would like you to welcome very warmly Wes Anderson and Jason Schwartzman. How are you?
Wow, hey.
Woo!
Yeah.
Take a minute, let it all soak in.
Thank you guys for coming. Wow, that's overwhelming. Great.
So let's talk about India.
Okay.
What is it about India that's fascinated you for all these years? And what was it like shooting in India?
Okay. Well, I was interested in India for a number of years because of movies that I'd seen that were set there. That was really what first drew me to India. Satyajit Ray's films. Have you seen some of those?
Yes.
You know those?
The Apu trilogy.
The Apu trilogy, and he made like a movie a year for most of his life.
Right.
And he also wrote the music for his films. So we used his music in our movie. And then also a movie by Jean Renoir called The River, which I really loved, and that was sort of what led me to India. And then I went there with Jason, and I went there once on my own, and then I went with Jason and his cousin Roman, who's also my friend, to write. And we started writing the script and wrote in India together.
And so you guys went on your own tour, your own sort of train tour as a writing inspiration?
Yeah, we sort of went there with I think we were kind of trying to act out the story as we traveled around together. And yeah, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, we went to India for almost 5 weeks. Really, we were there for 4 weeks, but I had the 5th week for travel time, getting there and everything. It's a long flight. And so we went there, really to not only write, but to live the parts, as Wes said, and to walk around India, get a feeling of it. If there was a scene that took place at a temple, we would take out our scripts right in front of a temple. We would act it out, see how it felt, and generally we would end up shooting it. A lot of these places that we found.
We found a lot of locations. Yeah. Like we found the village when we were writing.
Yeah, we found a village.
Yeah.
Well, there's a scene in our movie that takes place at a village, and while we were in India.
The thing is, Jason told this story on Conan.
Yeah.
So I feel if we do it now, it will see. It was actually my story.
That's true.
But you did it on Conan.
But you said I could do it.
I know. Yeah. Okay.
You want to do it? You do it better.
Let's just both tell it.
All right.
We can tell it together. It's not that. I mean, now we've built it up quite a lot.
Well, yeah.
So we'll just quickly breeze through it.
It's an awful story. Go ahead.
But it's an example of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Which is we went to this village where we wanted to visit a small a rural village in the desert because we had a scene in our movie that was set in one. So somebody that we met brought us to this place, and when we arrived, we were greeted by the elders of this village in Rajasthan, who invited us to participate in their traditional welcoming ritual, which is that you drink opium together.
Oh.
So we went into this little hut and we sat on the floor with them, and he kind of prepared it, and it's kind of steeps it like tea in a little leather opium pitcher. Yeah. He pours the sort of leader of it. He pours the opium into his hand, and you have to slurp it out of his hand. And you can have 1 slurp or 3 slurps. I think we all took 3. It's like, what does it feel like?
Half a Xanax or something.
Yeah. But afterwards, when we stood up, we felt like this is a great village. And we ended up we cast the whole everybody there is in the movie, and that's where we shot, and that was part of our writing process. So that answer is that we can go to the next
method
question.
writing.
Right. So you just had a framework, and then the trip sort of filled in a lot of the details for you.
I think so.
Yeah.
Jason, have you ever been to India before this?
I had never been to India before this. We went on the writing trip and then the shooting trip were the only 2 times I'd ever been there. So never before. All I knew of India was just from Really through the Beatles and George Harrison and shit like that.
And you've got a George Harrison mustache in the movie.
Yeah?
And you're shoeless like Paul on Abbey Road.
Yeah.
It was very conscious, sort of following the Beatles' footsteps? No? Just happy accident?
But I will say, if you're going to have a mustache, Rajasthan is the place to have it. Because it's very in fashion there, and almost every gentleman has a mustache. It's more uncommon not to have one, I found, and people actually will come up to me on the street and say, you have a mustache like the Maharaja. Which made me very happy. And then they would in the village that we were shooting at, the little kids would go up to Owen and go, "Not Indian," and then they would walk up to Adrian and say, "Not Indian," and then they come to me and they go, "Indian." So I became known as India Jack, Jack is my character in the movie, so they call me India Jack. So but no, the mustache was more Rajasthani than Beatleian.
So you co-wrote the film together. And you got to build your own character, obviously. How much of it was
Well, we all
a collaborative process, or how much did you take hold of your character from the? Did you write your own character?
Well, I would say that the script is. I didn't just write for my character. No, I think that the script is a kind of an equal dispersion of myself, Wes, and Roman, and it really is a kind of a collage built of all of our personal experiences and things that we all have gone through. And like when Wes and I and Roman first began writing it, the intent was always to write something very personal, the most personal, too personal, and the most honest script that we could create. And then from that make the most honest film we could. So most of the movie is all things that have happened or very close to us. So, but my character is not just me at all.
And Wes, you usually use a collaborative.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
But I would say that the three of us, all Wes, Roman, and I, really could relate to my character. There's an aspect of him which is that he writes these short stories based on things that have happened to him in his life, and that was kind of what we were doing. I mean, I know I just said that, but that's kind of what we were doing. We could relate to the idea of needing to make some kind of work out of something that had actually occurred in your life. Next question.
And what was it like? Your first 3 films you wrote with Owen,
Right.
then you wrote with Noah Baumbach on the Life Aquatic.
Right.
What was it like working with Jason as a writer? That
It's
good?
hard to answer. I'd rather answer it privately, but I could speak more freely. But I mean, what can I say? We've known each other for many years and been very close friends, and it was great traveling together and working on the script. But writing is such a boring thing to describe. I don't really know how I can. It's a lot, it's mostly just sitting in the room and let's just skip it.
But it is easy when Roman is your cousin, Roman Coppola.
Yeah.
And you've worked with the same people over and over again. It's like making a family first. Is that the easiest way to create?
I like to work with my friends. I don't think that's unusual, but I feel like. But anyway, that's what I'm most comfortable with. So so part of the idea, I wanted to make a movie in India. I wanted to make a movie about 3 brothers on a train. But the idea of writing with Roman and Jason was as big a part of my decision to go forward with the film as anything else. That in and of itself was the thing I wanted to do, and we had a great experience.
And so, for people who might not be aware, what is the film about? And
the film is about 3 brothers: Owen Wilson, Adrian Brody, Jason Schwartzman, who go on a train journey through India with this idea that they're going to kind of find themselves and bond with each other, and they have like a laminated itinerary with all their plans for how they're going to go about that. And the movie's more or less how that doesn't really work out.
let's talk about the music.
Okay.
You're known very much. I'm going to go on a limb. I think you like the Kinks.
Yeah, I've only used 1 Kinks song before.
Yeah.
This movie, but I do.
Use 3 in this one.
We used 3 in this one, yeah. 3 from 1 record, and those were some songs that I'd had sort of set aside for a while and had wanted to use in a movie. I think the main part of the music for this movie comes from Satyajit Ray and from Merchant Ivory's films. That's really, I think, our discovery for this movie, is how beautiful the music is from those films. And it's also, that music is, Ray was very influenced by Western music, Western classical music especially, and so the music that he made for his films is some mixture that is hard to find in any other context. And I think the same could be said of Merchant Ivory's scores, because they're influenced by Ray's work, I think. And he scored one of their films, in fact.